Well, in the world of conspiracies, Illuminati, control freaks, and that type of stuff, there's a new angle coming up. I know a lot of people talk about the oil monopoly and all that type of stuff, and the fiat currency and the Federal Reserve. Well, there's a new freaking deal coming out here. Bad new deal. Not like a good new deal. It's coming from the angle of water. And I can almost call these, I think eventually some of the efficient methods of energy, it's going to come out of the bag. And even the solar power every 3 years seems to be like a doubling of efficiency. It's following some of the laws that the computers used to do. Every few years, doubling of efficiency. Same with the solar panels. But there's going to be other technology that's going to come out with free, almost free energy, but splitting hydrogen, farming hydrogen out of water efficiently for cheap energy. So oil is going to be out the window, basically, eventually. So that's the biggest industry on the earth, right? So what are you going to replace it with? Pretty simple. The answer is water, water. And I thought it was just the oil companies moving into the water markets, basically trying to, take the water rights and then sell them back to the public. And basically, but it's an interesting. I saw here that Nestle, the people that make you the cocoa and all that type of stuff. CEO Peter Brabeck says that with the global population rising, water is not a public right, but a resource that should be managed by businessmen. I'm really beginning to agree with the American Indians all the way. The white man is screwing the shit up big time, man. I really think so. And actually, it isn't the white man doing it, it's some control freaks doing it that are white, or mainly white. Because, when the settlers in the United States went west, they weren't just deciding like, oh, we want to go west. They're getting away from the control freaks back east and all the bull crap. You know what I mean? I mean, even if you lived at the time of the turn of this century when the Federal Reserve first came out and they had World War I, hey, you could have been out west someplace, you know what I mean? Voiding all that garbage, on your own farm. That's what a lot of things happen. So, another control freak. But, looking back at the history of Nestle basically started totally opposite. Actually, today, if this guy Nestle, the one that actually founded Nestle, not this control freak CEO Peter Brabeck, whoever this guy is, water should not be a public right. The public should not have access to water. It needs to be controlled by us businessmen so we could charge you money for it. Basically, that's what he's saying. But in Nestle, if you take the original Nestle, it was 1866. Henri Nestle in Switzerland. I think he was a German pharmacist. Developed a milk food formula for infants who were unable to tolerate their mother's milk. Basically, what he did was he saved the life of a child, and it was farine lactée, a combination of cow's milk, but it was like the kind of cow's milk you don't buy today. This is like before the pasteurization stuff. It would be cow's milk that was like whole, raw, organic cow's milk. Like if they try to sell it in California, you have like a SWAT team goes in there and busts down the door because you're selling cow's milk. Well, this is what Henri Nestle, the founder of Nestle, used. He used regular, organic, raw cow's milk, wheat flour, the real stuff, not no GMO flour, and natural sugar. So he saved the life of a child. Like basically he was a good guy. He took natural products, made a nice combination that saved children's lives. And that's how the product started. That's how Nestle started. So here we go. Here this is back in 1866, so we got a good 150 years later. Almost 150 years later, we have a CEO now of the same company, totally 180 degrees away from the founder. The founder was about preserving human life. This guy's about being a control freak on the water. So, it's going to be like they're going to try to. I think what they're going to do. So they're going to try to do to everybody like they did to the Indians. Basically, you're going to take over, and if people don't listen to them, they're going to take away the water, just like they're going to take away the buffalo from the Indians. These guys are a bunch of control freaks. So I got to say, go back to natural, and if you're a believer in Nestle, and that type of stuff, maybe you shouldn't buy the new products because this guy's a bum. He's no good. You know, this Peter Brabeck, he wants to control the water because only businessmen know better. People don't know better. We know better, so we want to charge you money. I would go back to the original founder, Nestle, Henri Nestle, and do the raw organic milk and the combination that Nestle was actually founded on. But if you did that today in the state of California, you'd probably be in trouble, wouldn't you? Because it's raw organic milk. Man, I don't know what the deal is, but that's the next Illuminati control freak thing. I think they're going to actually move into the water business because one of the ways they're trying to get money, and you know, this is probably a good, and you know, just so you got a heads up on this, because I'm not giving you like a solution here how to exactly fight it, but as long as you actually realize, you know, people and control freaks and money freaks, they just got a nose and a sense for which way things go. They'll move in any direction to get more money or more power. And what I think is going to happen is the oil industry is basically going to be like out the door. It's going to go gone. It's going to go goodbye. And like one of the things they're use for the global government, they want to use is carbon tax, stuff like that. But there isn't going to be a carbon tax too much without traditional like oil industry. Basically, say you had abundant free energy or close to free energy, you really couldn't have a carbon tax. So what I think they're going to do is through water. I think water is going to be the resource that's actually going to be the control freaks are going to try to get their hands on. So if you ever see anything like this coming up, because to fight the power, you got to fight their source of income. You know, there's something like water should not be something that's managed by businessmen, like this damn CEO is coming about and saying. But you know, it's not just this guy. I was surprised Nestle, the CEO of Nestle, was saying it, but it's the oil companies that are moving into this market. They always got to find some kind of racket where you have to have the product and they control everything on it. So, you know, water is going to be a big one in the future. And considering how the population's going up, I guess, you know, once they get something where they can actually take a small percentage of something, a small percentage times millions of people, it's a hell of a lot of money. That's the way that works. So, looks like Nestle's current CEO is like 180 degrees off of the founder, Henri Nestle. Henri Nestle was all about healing, helping infants, fighting disease, and, you know, through his food products, basically. You know, back then you could claim that Nestle would help with a cold and alleviate the symptoms of a cold or something back in the 1800s. But today you couldn't. You know, you couldn't. It'd have to be something else. But it shows you how far we've gotten away from actually the roots of even our corporations got away from the roots of what they're about. Not only the roots of what our Constitution's about in the United States and the Bill of Rights for everybody, but even like the corporate philosophies. Their corporate philosophies today are purely power and money, with a lot of image control and philanthropy on the outside to keep the public at bay. Because really, I think a lot of it is total image control, you know. So they'll put like a little smiling baby on their, what do you call it, their packaging. In the meantime, they want to control all the water. But quite an interesting twist, because 180 degrees from the way Nestle was founded. And if you would have used the same products that Henri Nestle used, if you used them today, they come in there with a SWAT team because you're selling raw organic milk, and he saved the lives of children with this stuff. Amazing how far we've gotten away from the truth, right?